He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow them.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustadah Laila Nasheeba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to our class on how to perform the prayer. We've been speaking about the topic of purification. The last time we met for this class, we talked about ghusl. And who can tell me, what does ghusl mean? Can anyone tell me, what does the Arabic word ghusl mean in English? Anybody? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what the Arabic term ghusl refers to in English? Can anyone tell me?
Purification.
Okay, no, it doesn't mean purification. What does it mean? Anyone else? Okay, good job, sister, on YouTube, Sister AY. It means a complete, it really, technically, it means to immerse yourself in water from head to toe. That's what it is. Ghusl is, excuse me, I know my scarf is lopsided. I'm sorry. Ghusl refers to immersing your entire body in water, whereas wudu is just immersing certain parts of the body in water. That's the difference. Everybody understand? So if I'm going to take a ghusl, that means I'm going to stand up underneath the shower. I'm going to turn the shower on, let the water come out of the shower, and I'm going to stand up underneath the shower and let the water run from my head all the way down to my toes, covering every part of my body. Every part of my body from head to toe. That's ghusl. Okay, whereas wudu is, I'm just going to rub water over certain parts, my hands, my arms, my feet, my face, and just wipe over my head. So that's basically the difference between taking a ghusl and taking a wudu, making a wudu. Okay, and the last time we met, when is it obligatory for a woman to take a ghusl as opposed to just making wudu? Can anyone remember? Because we talked about the rules of ghusl and how they relate to women the last class we had on this topic. When is it obligatory for a woman to take a complete ghusl?
After her period and after she have intercourse. So even if it didn't penetrate her all the way, as long as it went in, then you have to take a ghusl afterwards.
Good job. After her menses, she has to take a complete ghusl. And after having sexual relations with her husband, she has to take a ghusl as well. But is there any part of the body that requires a different ruling for a woman in regards to menses and intercourse? And if so, what part of the body and what's the rule? You all are women here. Y'all better know that answer. Or maybe there isn't a difference. There isn't a difference?
Yes, it is. Is the hair like after the menses, the woman, like if her hair is ready, she have to take it out the braid and wash it. And for the intercourse, she doesn't have to take out the braid. She just can just like rinse it.
Exactly. The difference is after menses, if a woman's hair is braided, she has to undo the braids and wash her hair as well after her menses. But if her hair was braided during sexual relations, she doesn't have to undo the braids then. All she has to do is just rinse the water, through her hair, but she doesn't have to undo the braids. Does every woman here understand that? Is that clear? All of you should have known that answer. Okay. And also, what about this? If a woman has a wet dream and then she wakes up and she doesn't see anything, does she have to take a complete ghusl?
No, she doesn't. She have to see it.
Exactly. I want you guys to remember that. And that's for women and men. If you have a wet dream and you wake up and there is no proof of it, no sign of it, no ejaculation, then all you have to do is you don't have to have a complete ghusl, but you should just wash the private part. If you're a woman, I'm talking about. Okay. If you're wet, but there is no other sign, because women are always wet, some of them are. But if there is no sign of ejaculation, then no, you don't have to take a ghusl. And this is a question that one of the new Shahada women asked me. She said, what if you think you have a wet dream, you wake up, but you don't see no signs of it? But you're a woman that's always, got stuff up there. Then just wash your private part. But no, if there's no sign of it, then no ghusl. So that's basically what we covered the last time we met for this class. We went over the different rules of ghusl. We should try to take a bath as often as we can because Allah loves cleanliness. What about this? Is it obligatory to take a ghusl every Friday? Is it an obligation to take a ghusl every Friday?
It's not an obligation, but it's highly recommended.
Exactly. It's not an obligation, but it's recommended under what circumstances?
Like, say for instance, you can't get to it's time for Juma, and say for instance, you just came out of town or something.
Okay, so listen to the question. The question was, is it an obligation for us to take a ghusl every Friday? The answer is no. Okay, but it's recommended when? On Fridays. Is there a reason why it's recommended on Fridays? In other words, I'm asking you.
For Juma.
That's if you're going to the mosque. What about this? I ain't going to no mosque. I don't go to the mosque for nothing. So is it recommended for me to take a ghusl? I don't
say yes because it was
no. The hadith is no. That's why I asked this. The hadith, which really applies to men. Okay, the Prophet recommended. He said, for any man, what's the hadith? Well, y'all got to remember these hadiths. Who gets up, makes ghusl, and walks to the mosque. It's recommended if you're going to the mosque on Friday. The Prophet said it's highly recommended that if you come to the mosque on Friday, you take a ghusl before. He didn't say take a ghusl every Friday. That's not the hadith. The hadith does not say it's recommended to take a ghusl every Friday. Nope, there ain't no hadith that says that. The hadith is it's recommended to take a ghusl before going to the mosque on Fridays. Now, do y'all understand?
Yes.
So if I ain't going to no mosque, I ain't got to take nothing. What am I taking a ghusl for? I ain't going nowhere. I'm sitting at home. And that's something that you brothers need to remember, the blessings you brothers get taking a ghusl going to the mosque. Is there anything that mentions anything about a wudu for women on Fridays? Is there any hadith that recommends wudu for a woman on Fridays? There's no such thing, Jamila. That's why I'll tell y'all have to learn these hadiths. There is nothing in Islam that says because this is Friday, you should take a bath. Nope. There's nothing in Islam that says because this is Friday and you a woman, you make a wudu. Nope. All the hadiths associated with taking a bath on Fridays is in regards to going to the mosque for the Juma prayer. And not only does that hadith recommend that you brothers take a bath, but what else? Give me the whole hadith. What else does the hadith recommend that the men do? Y'all don't know. See, y'all got to learn these hadiths. The hadith is any man who gets up, takes a ghusl, combs his hair, and perfumes himself, and brushes his teeth, and goes to the mosque will get such and such amount of blessings and sins reduced. Y'all understand now? So this is also to answer a question that one of the sisters sent me. She said, I'm a new Shahada. And one of the brothers at the mosque told me I have to take a bath every Friday. No, there's nothing in Islam that says we have to take a bath every Friday. Okay? That hadith that he's referring to is about going to the masjid on Fridays. And that hadith doesn't just say taking a bath. It says brushing your teeth, doing your hair, and perfuming yourself. But guess what? This is how you know it ain't talking about a woman. Any woman that puts perfume on and goes to the mosque is just like an adulterer. So that's why I was telling you guys, when y'all read those hadiths about congregational prayer, the virtues of going to the mosque, those hadiths are for men. A woman gets more blessings staying home in her house, listening to the khutbah on the internet. Okay? But so there is no hadith that recommends how many days we go without taking a bath. But we do have many hadiths where the Prophet Muhammad speaks about how Allah loves cleanliness. And as Muslims, we should try to bathe as often as we can. I encourage you Muslims to take a bath every day. But is there anything that says it has to be done every day? No. But I strongly encourage you guys to. And women cannot wear cologne either to the mosque. You women cannot wear no perfume and no cologne to no masjid. Any woman that does has the curse of Allah on her. And your prayers are not accepted until you go home and take a complete ghusl, the kind that you take after having relations with your husband. Okay, so you sisters do not wear no perfume or any of that to no masjid. The hadith is for men, not women. Y'all got it? Exactly. The hadith that speaks about the virtues of praying at the mosque is talking about men, not women. Exactly. The Prophet. And what's the source? Sahih Bukhari. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said a woman's prayer in her bedroom by herself is more rewarding than her prayer in the mosque standing with him leading you. Oh yeah, that's Bukhari. We get more blessings at home. Allah made this deen easy. All right. So, do I have to take a bath on Fridays? No. But it's encouraged to take a bath on Fridays if I plan on going to the mosque. Okay, that's it. Any questions about that? All right. So we covered ghusl. We covered wudu. Now we're going to talk about tayammum. And I'm going to cover everything about tayammum tonight, inshallah.
Sister Layla, I have a quick question with regarding ghusl. Do you have to take that after you wash someone's body?
Okay, we talked about that the last time we met too. I meant to put that on the quiz today. Do you, true or false? You must take a ghusl. It's called ghusl. You must take a ghusl after washing a person's body. Is that statement true or false?
False.
Exactly. And can you give me some dalil that is false? We went over several hadiths. What's one that should stand out?
A woman's husband had passed, and she asked if she had to take a ghusl because it was very cold outside, and they said no.
And who was that woman? That was Abu Bakr who died. And who washed his body? His wife. Her name was Asma. When Abu Bakr died, he put in his will that nobody wash his body but his wife, because he didn't want the people to see the scars that he had from all the battles he fought. Because Abu Bakr had a lot of scars over his body from when he fought during the time of the Prophet, the Battle of Uhud and Badr and the ditch and all of that. So and that's why I say in Islam, the dead is sacred. That's why another reason why these brothers that can't control their emotions are putting up pictures of dead people, dead babies. These brothers are going to answer to Allah. That's a sacrilege. You don't show Muslims at their worst. So Abu Bakr requested that the only one he wanted to wash his body was his wife, Asma, because he didn't want the rest of the people to know the scars he had on his body from all the battles or to see them. So it was a cold day. The desert gets cold sometimes. And so she asked the other companions, she said, do I have to take a ghusl after I, wash his body? Because it's so cold. And they told her, no. They said, you do not have to take a ghusl. So there's your dalil. There's the source, Bukhari and Muslim. So this misconception that Muslims have that they have to take ghusls after washing body, we don't know where they get it from. That's what happens when we follow madhabs instead of following what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said and using the understanding of the companions. Good question. Any other questions like that? Any other questions like that before we move on? I'm trying to think that I have another one like, because I didn't put I know I was meant to ask about the body, washing the body, and what else do people mix up sometimes? I think that's it. Okay, so tonight what we're going to do is cover tayammum and the rules relating to tayammum. So let me put that PowerPoint up on the screen. Hold on. So you guys can see it. Yeah, this brother here said he didn't even know that. He was always told. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, guys. A lot of you ask why you're being tested. Because you're learning the Islam and its truthfulness. A lot of you had misconceptions about this religion because you were learning from people who follow madhabs instead of people who follow the Quran wa Sunnah. So now that you guys are learning Islam from the sources of the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of the companions, a lot of you find out a lot of things that you were told over the years is not true. That's why, whenever people tell you that you have to do something, or if ever someone tells you that you cannot do something, they have to bring the nas, the clear evidence to prove it. So we have to be careful who we take our knowledge of this religion from. I'm always reminding you guys of that. All my teachings, as you guys can see, that's why I use PowerPoint. All my teachings are based on the Quran and the Sunnah, not any madhabs, fatwas, or any of that nonsense. You guys get it directly from what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. Okay, so tonight we're going to cover the topic of Tayyamum. And let's start off by explaining what Tayyamum is in English. Okay, Tayyamum, literally, this shows how Arabic words have different meanings. Y'all want to know the meaning of Tayyamum? Tayyamum really means aim or purpose. Like a Maqasidic Tayyamum. The Maqasidic aim. The Maqasidic purpose. Okay, that's what Tayyamum literally means. It means aim or purpose. That's the Fusha. Like I told you guys, the Fusha is just like that Aristotle English. People don't even speak it no more except the scholars. The scholars will always speak the Fusha with each other. But Tayyamum literally means aim or purpose. And in Islamic law, it refers to aiming for or seeking soil to wipe your face and your hands with the intention of preparing yourself to pray. That whole sentence is what that little word means in Sharia law. So if I was using for Sharia law, Tayyamum, we know it means aiming or seeking soil to wipe your face and hands with the intention of preparing yourself to pray. But if I weren't using it for Sharia law, it would mean aim or purpose. Okay? And what's the proof that it's something legal to do? Well, Allah commands us to do it or allows us to do it. Let me make this bigger because I know I got the print is so small. Okay, Allah makes it, the evidence of its legality is from the Quran, where Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, if you are sick or traveling on a journey, or one of you comes from answering the call of nature, or you have had relations with your wife and you cannot find water, then go to high, clean soil and rub your face and hands with it. Allah is forgiving. So that's the legality of it. Okay, Allah says right there in those clear words, if you are sick or if you're on a journey or you have sexual relations with your wife and you cannot find any water, that's the key. Find. So that means you have to go out and look for water. You have to search for water. There's a lot of lazy Muslims out there. They don't want to make wudu. So they'll go open their door and make Tayyamum. No, you cannot make Tayyamum if there's water available. You have to go out and look for water. If you have a car and there's a gas station down the street from you that sells water, you have to get in your car and drive to the gas station and get some water. You cannot just opt to make Tayyamum. And how is it done? Just the way Allah says, by striking your hand and then rubbing your face with it. Y'all see that there? And what hadiths do we have to help explain it? Well, here's one of the hadiths by Abu Umayma. He said the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, all of the earth has been made for me and my nation a pure place of prayer. So whenever a person from my nation wants to pray, he has something with which to purify himself, and that is the earth. But again, it comes with the condition there can be no water available for you. The only time we can make Tayyamum is if there is no water and we have looked for it and couldn't find it. So this is a blessing from Allah. Remember, we talked about in a previous class how every prophet of Allah was given gifts from Allah that were specific to him. For example, Moses alayhi salam was given the staff, and also Allah spoke directly to him. Solomon alayhi salam was given a kingship and also an army of which allowed him to control the jinn. Well, our prophet Muhammad was given something specific for him too. Listen to what he said. He said, I have been given 5 things that were not given to any prophet before me. Number 1, I have been made victorious due to fear for a distance of 1 month's journey. Number 2, the earth has been made a place of prayer for me. Wherever and whoever of my nation wants to pray, he may pray on it. Number 3, the war booty has been made lawful for me, and this was not made lawful for any prophet before me. And number 5, I think this is 5, I have been given permission to intercede. The prophet used to be raised, the prophets used to be raised for their own people only, but I have been for all mankind. That's number 5. The other one's number 4. So those are the 5 things that Allah gave to our prophet Muhammad that he didn't give to any other prophet. And as you guys can see, one of them is that we can pray anywhere on this earth. And also we can use the earth to purify ourselves if there's no water available. Okay? And I want y'all to remember that every prophet had something that no other prophet had. These are the 5 things ours had. And that's the source, Bukhari and Muslim. Listen to this hadith from Aisha, radiallahu anha, one of the wives of the prophet. She said, we went out with the prophet of Allah on one of his journeys until we reached a place called Baida. And at this place, one of my bracelets broke and fell. The prophet and the people began to look for it, and there was no water around, nor did anyone have any water with him. So the people went to Abu Bakr and they said, do you see what your daughter has caused us to do? Abu Bakr then came to me while the prophet was sleeping on my thigh, and he blamed me and said to me whatever Allah willed him to say. He also poked me in my side. I could not move because the prophet was sleeping on my lap. He slept until the morning, and we didn't have any water to make wudu with. And then that's when Allah sent down the verse of the Quran saying that we can make wudu from the earth. And when Allah sent that verse down, one of the companions said, here's another blessing from the family of Abu Bakr. And then the camel that I was riding on stood up, and my bracelet was right underneath it. So that's how that verse came down. Remember, I tell you guys, you will never know the history of the Quran until you learn the hadiths. This is the hadith explaining what happened to cause Allah to send down the verses of Tayyamum. So this is why, if you really want to be able to understand the Quran, you have to know the history of this religion. And the history of this religion are the hadiths. Okay? So that's how the verses of Tayyamum were revealed. Okay. And again, if a person cannot find water, or the amount of water you find is not enough to make wudu with, that's when you make tayammum. But again, you have to look for water. We have this hadith here. One of the companions said, we were with the Prophet during a journey. When he led the people in prayer, one man stayed away from us. So the Prophet asked him, what prevented you from praying with us? And he said, I need a post-nocturnal bath, but there is no water. And that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, use the dirt because it is sufficient. So here again is more dalil. This is from Bukhari and Muslim, that even if you are in post-nocturnal condition and you have to take a bath, but you, in other words, he had a wet dream. You have a wet dream. This man had a wet dream and there was no water around for him to take a bath with. And you can't find no water because they were in the desert. You can make tayammum. Okay. I hope this is clear. We have another hadith, whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the dirt is a purifier for a Muslim, even if he does not find water for 20 years. In other words, if you were living in the desert and there was no water for 20 years, you can still use the dirt to purify yourself after relations, after answering the call of nature and everything else. The dirt purifies whatever walks across it. That's why as Muslims, when we wipe over our shoes and socks, we don't have to wipe over the bottom. We just do the top. And as Muslim women, if our abaya gets dirty, we still can pray in it because the dirt purifies whatever walks over it. That's one of the miracles of Allah. But again, in regards to tayammum, you have to make the effort to look for water. And if you can't find water, then you use the dirt. Okay? What about this? Say that you're sick or you're injured and you can't make wudu with the water because the water will make your sickness worse, then you can use tayammum. Y'all understand that? If the water will make you sick, then you can opt out in that case and use the dirt. Where's the dalil? We have this authentic hadith, whereas the companions were on a journey, one of them became sick and he had a wet dream. He asked the other companions, can I perform tayammum? They said, no, you have to use water. So he listened to them and took a ghusl in the water and he died afterwards from the cold. And when they got back to the Prophet, they told the Prophet what happened. And the Prophet said, you killed him. You killed him. He said, if you didn't know the right answer, then why did you say anything? He said, all he would have had to do was make tayammum. Okay, so again, if the water is going to make you worse or your illness sick or for some reason you got an injury, and they tell you don't put no water on it, then you can do tayammum. And I hope this is clear. And again, if you cannot find water, again, just make the wudu. We have we went over this. Yeah, we did this. I end up putting this twice. Wait, let me go to the next page. Okay, there it is. What about this? There's water. Say, for example, the water in your apartment goes out. You can no longer use the water because they cut the water off in your apartment. But there is a gas station down the street from you. But there's a bad fire. All the traffic is cut off. So you're afraid that if you were to go, you might end up in danger because of the fire that's down the street. Well, if a person fears for his life or his family or his property, say, for example, there's a shooting going on down the street. You don't want to drive to look for water because you don't want to get shot. Or say that there's coyotes are attacking the people down the street or something like that. Then you can perform Tayyamum. If your life or your family is in danger, you can opt to do Tayyamum to keep you out of danger. Does everybody understand that? So if water is close to you, but you fear that something bad might happen to you if you go to get it, then you can go ahead and make Tayyamum. Also, if you're saving water, say, for example, you only have a certain amount of water in your house and it's shared by you, by your pet, and you need water for cooking. A lot of people ask, if I'm trying to save water, do I make Tayyamum? Can I just make Tayyamum? Well, listen to what Imam Ahmed said. He said many of the companions performed Tayyamum so they could save their water for drinking. Ali, radiallahu anhu, said that a man who is traveling and becomes unclean because of sex or a wet dream, he can perform Tayyamum if he fears he will go thirsty using his water for that. And that's the hadith is authentic. So say, for example, your electricity is cut off. You have no lights in your house. You cannot go down the street to get no water because there's a shootout going on or something. So all you have is just a bowl of water, and that water has to be divided between you, your cats, your children, your wives. Y'all all have to share that water, and you don't know how long the shooting is going to go on, and you don't know how long your power is going to be out. In that case, make Tayyamum. Y'all see how easy the religion is. Islam, Allah's laws are not like man's. Allah's laws, remember we talked about this yesterday in our Chalcidic Quran class. Allah's laws have no imperfections in them. Allah's laws are free from mistakes because he's the creator. He knows us better than we know ourselves. He's also the creator of everything, good and evil. So Allah is merciful. What about this? You can get some water, but you fear that the prayer will be over by the time you get it. Well, you can perform Tayyamum and pray, and you do not have to repeat your repeat your prayer after getting the water. Y'all understand? So say, for example, it's time to make Maghrib. You can get to the gas station, but by the time you go buy the water and come back home, you're going to be to miss the prayer. Well, in that case, forget about the water. Go ahead and make Tayyamum and pray. And then go get the water. And you do not have to repeat that prayer. Okay? Prayer comes first. A lot of people ask, what type of dirt can we use for Tayyamum? Well, it must be pure dirt. That means it can be sand. It can be a rock. Y'all don't know that? Rocks are made from dirt. Okay, Allah says perform Tayyamum with pure soil. And soil is whatever covers the earth. That can be dirt, it can be rocks, or any of that. Okay, We had the question from a sister asking, could she make Tayyamum off the dust on her car dashboard? The answer was no. Jamali told her no. He's correct, because dust from your car dashboard is not dirt. That's dead cells and hair. You can open the car door up and strike the ground and make Tayyamum. Why would you make it from off the dashboard of your car when that's not dirt? That's not pure dirt. That's not soil. When all you got to do is open the door to your car and reach down and hit the ground. Common sense. Okay? And again, how do we perform Tayyamum? Just like with wudu and ghusl, you have to have the intention to pray with it. And then after you make that intention in your heart, then you say Allah's name and you strike the ground with your hands, and then you wipe your face and your hands up to the wrist. And that's it. That's it. You don't roll around in the dirt. That's it. You strike the ground with your hands, rub your hands together, and wipe your face. That's it. Let me show you guys, so you can see how easy this religion is. Okay? Make this bigger. This is how you make Tayyamum. Hit the ground, rub my hands, wipe my face. That's it. So y'all see that? The intentions are in my heart. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah. Hit the ground. Bismillah. The name of Allah. Rub my hands together. Wipe my face. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. That's it. Okay, let me make this back so y'all can see the PowerPoint. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. We have this hadith where Ammar says, we became sexually impure and we had no water, so we rolled around in the dirt and then we prayed. When we got back to Medina, we told the Prophet and he said, this would have been enough for you to do. And he struck the earth with his hands, blew in them, and wiped his face and hands with them. This hadith is Bukhari and Muslim. So there's your dalil. Hit the ground, rub your hands, wipe your face. That's Tayyamum. You don't have to roll around like a pig in the dirt. In another hadith, the Prophet said it would have been enough for you to strike the ground with your hands, blow into them, then wipe your face and hands up to the elbow. This is another hadith. Now, mention this. Some people, I was going to say that. That's why I didn't answer your question yet. Some people say, I thought I can do the elbows. Well, they base it on that hadith. And that hadith is authentic too. Hit it, rub this, and you can do it to the elbows. But do you have to go to the elbows? No, because Bukhari and Muslim out trumps. Wait a minute. Where am I? Out trumps all those other hadiths. So all you have to do is strike the ground, rub your hands together, blow in them, and wipe your face. That's all. You don't have to do the elbows. But some people do based on that hadith. But striking the earth is sufficient. And one only wipes the arms to the wrists. And it's from the sunnah that whoever makes Tayyamum with dirt should blow into his hands first and not make his face dusty or dirty. Remember, Allah doesn't like ugliness. That's why we should all look our best, even when we're like me in our home by ourselves. I live alone. But that doesn't mean that my Lord doesn't see me. So I make sure I look nice in my house for my Lord. Allah doesn't like dirtiness. And Allah doesn't like ugliness. So that's why you should blow in your hands before you wipe over your face, so you don't make your face ugly and dirty. Y'all see the hikmah of Allah. What about this? A lot of people ask, what breaks the Tayyamum? The same thing that breaks the wudu. If you answer the call of nature, you have to make another Tayyamum. If you pass gas, you have to make another Tayyamum. If you have sexual relations with your wives or husbands, you have to make another Tayyamum. Okay? So the same thing that breaks a wudu breaks the Tayyamum. What if you come to water after you've prayed? You do not have to re-pray that prayer over. Okay, everybody understand that? Also, if you come to water after you made Tayyamum, you don't have to make a wudu either unless you've broken your Tayyamum. Does everybody understand that? If you did nothing to break your Tayyamum, you do not have to make a wudu just because you finally got some water. You can still pray with the same Tayyamum, even though the water has been found, as long as you don't break it. And also, finally, a lot of people ask about wiping over your cast. Let's say, for example, you got a broken arm or something like this man does in this picture. It's allowable to wipe over any cast. There's many hadith on this point, and although they are all weak, their chains strengthen each other. We have, so in other words, you know, say for example, the doctor tells you that he doesn't want that cast to get wet. If you want to, you don't have to, because these hadiths are all weak. And you know me, I personally don't deal with weak hadiths. If you want to, though, you can make Tayyamum over that cast, or you don't have to. If the doctor said don't get it wet, then you don't have to get it wet. Okay? But that's a question a lot of people ask, and you will get different answers. And like I said, these hadiths are all weak. All the hadiths about wiping over the cast with Tayyamum are weak. So you know me, I don't deal with nothing weak. I don't like no weak woman. I can't stand a weak man, and I don't deal with no weak hadiths. Okay? So basically, and I think I got one more thing. Yeah, I did. I ended with this thing here. What about this? You're in a position whereas you have to pray, but there's nothing. Say, for example, you're in a hospital, confined to the bed. You cannot get up to get water, nor can you get up to do Tayyamum, but you have to pray. What do? You pray without a wudu. Does everybody understand that? Prayer is an obligation in Islam. It's an obligation. If you are unable to get to any water, or if you are unable to get up to strike the ground, then you lay there and pray without the wudu.